some scholars who suggest that descriptions found in this Egyptian document bear a remarkable resemblance to the plagues of the Bible, only from an Egyptian point of view. Written by a scribe named Ipuwer, the papyrus known as the Admonitions of an Egyptian Sage poetically describes a series of calamities and the chaos that followed.
Ipuwer. We don't know who he was, but he was obviously somebody in the position to address His Majesty, the King. There's only one copy of this specific text, and that is here in the Leiden Museum. It's a very, very vivid report, or would-be report, of what happens to Egypt when the central power falls away.
To convince Pharaoh, God says, take some water from the Nile and pour it on the ground. And as it hits the ground, it will turn into blood.
Behold, Egypt is fallen to the pouring of water. And he who poured water on the ground seizes the mighty in misery.
And all the water in the Nile turned into blood, and the fish of the Nile died, and the Nile reeked, so that the Egyptians could not drink water from the Nile.
The river is blood. If you drink of it, you lose your humanity and thirst for water.
All the livestock of the Egyptians died. Fire ran down from heaven, and the Lord sent hail upon the land. Even the flax and the barley were smitten.
Gone is the barley of abundance. Food supplies are running short. The nobles hunger and suffer. Those who had shelter are in the dark of the storm.
At midnight, the Lord struck down all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, from the firstborn of Pharaoh sitting on his throne to the firstborn of the captive in the dungeon.
Behold, plague sweeps the land. Blood is everywhere, with no shortage of the dead. He who buries his brother in the ground is everywhere. Woe is me for the grief of this time.
And there was great wailing throughout the land of Egypt, for there was not a house without its dead.
Wailing is throughout the land, mingled with lamentations.
It's a beautiful literary document. And again, yes, God was angry and punished the Egyptians, but...
The influential Egyptologist, the late Miriam Lichtheim, ruled out the possibility that the papyrus, the Admonitions of Ipuwer, referred to a real national calamity. Agreeing with other scholars, she stated the following.
The description of chaos in the Admonitions is inherently contradictory, hence historically impossible. On the one hand, the land is said to suffer from total want. On the other hand, the poor are described as becoming rich, of wearing fine clothes, and generally of disposing of all that once belonged to their masters.
However, when you read the biblical account, it becomes clear how this apparent contradiction could have happened.
Moses told the Israelites to ask the Egyptians for silver and gold jewelry and for clothing.
People are stripped of clothes. This slave takes what he finds. Gold, lapis lazuli, silver, and turquoise are strung on the necks of female slaves.
The Lord gave the people favor in the sight of the Egyptians, so they gave them whatever they asked. Thus they plundered the land of Egypt.
The very point that Miriam Lichtheim viewed as contradictory and therefore historically impossible is the very point that most specifically matches the biblical text.